everyone, welcome to our CV Academy, and today we are going to start another series on Jira Work Management. In this series, we'll learn all about Jira Work Management, how you can start with Jira Work Management. If you're a team member working in any of the project, how you can use Jira Work Management, and then if you are the administrator, how you can customize Jira Work Management, create the projects, etc. So that will be all focus of this particular short training on Jira Work Management. A brief introduction about myself. My name is Manish Verma and I'll be the instructor of this course. I am certified Jira project administrator and have been using most of the Atlassian tools day in day out in my daily activities and in my usual projects at my workplace. So let's get started and see what are the contents in this particular course. So the next thing is course content. So we'll go with the introduction. What exactly is Jira Work Management? Then we'll get started with the Jira Work Management, where we'll understand how to sign up for the Jira Work Management for free. And then if you are doing it for the company or the organization which is less than 10 people, you'll get it for free. If you are going above 10 people, you have to pay for it. So there is a pricing structure which we'll also cover. Along with that, we'll understand how you can configure it, how you can create the project, right? So how you can create your first Jira Work Management project. Along with that, how you can add users to those projects. So that's very important. Once you create the project, adding users is important because users are, or the members of the project are the one who actually work on the issues or the tasks that are there in the project. When those tasks are done, that's when you call the project as done, right? Then we'll see access project as a new user. So if, say for example, I am a member of a new project or a work management project, how can I use Jira Work Management as a new member of the team? So I'll cover all those basics as well. So this course will be short one, but will be highly relevant for any person who is working in the Jira Work Management and then wants to create issues and work with issues, report, etc. So all of that will be covered as part of this particular course. So let's move on. What's next? So basically, what is Jira Work Management? So first thing we need to understand is what exactly is Jira Work Management. Now this term is the new one that is available on the Atlassian website. Now this is not the new product as such. It is an enhanced product on top of Jira Core. So you would have heard about the Jira Core, on top of which we get Jira Software. So I've very widely worked with Jira Software, and Jira Software, when you get Jira Software or you sign up for Jira Software, Jira Core was part of it. And similar is the case now. So if you sign up for Jira Software, Jira Work Management will be available by default. Now what exactly is Jira Work Management? Jira Work Management is a collaboration tool. So if you just want a collaboration tool for business or tracking any other project apart from the software project, right, then you go for Jira Work Management. For example, if you're doing just project management, or you just want to do task management, you want to track HR projects, sales projects, marketing projects, any other type of projects. As we know, Jira is highly customizable, right? So we can customize Jira in any way that we want. So if you know how to customize and make the best use of Jira, you can customize Jira Software, Jira Work Management, any product within the Atlassian space to your needs, and it will be absolute fantastic add-on if you actually know how to customize and use these products, because there are so many good features available in these products that if you do not know how you use and how to get the best potential of the features that are available, it is just another tool lying in your organization, right? So when we talk about Jira Software, that is very specific to the software products. For example, if you are following Scrum or Kanban or software development basically, or IT services sort of project, you go for Jira Software. Anything other than that, if you just want to stick to the business project management task, etc., you go with the Jira Work Management, which is nothing but an advanced version of Jira Core. All right. Now, what are the other features? So teams get shared view of work items. So if you have any exposure to Jira Software, you will see similar sort of features in Jira Work Management. So teams will get the shared view of the work items. And when we say work items, any work item in Jira is represented with issues, and issues can be of any type, right? So there are default issue types in Jira software, for example, epic, story, task, subtask, defect, etc. And then you can create custom issue types as well. Similarly, in Jira Work Management, depending on what type of project you are going to select or create, say for example, you are going to create marketing project, there will be certain issue types by default available for it. You are trying to create a sales project, there might be certain issue types that are by default available in the Jira Work Management template when you'll create the project, right? So teams get shared view of the work item. So there will be boards. When you create the project, teams can access the board. They can see how many items are there, where those issues are in the workflow, how the things are progressing. So it's basically, it provides shared view of work items. The third thing is around the work is represented by issues, as I have already covered, that all the work items into Jira software are issues, or it is true in general in any project, right? So issues are part of the project. So say for example, I want to build a house, okay? And to build a house, I cannot just randomly get started. I have to have a structured approach to basically figure out what will be the work items required in building the house. So the work items can be a lot of work items, and if I do not structure those work items, say for example, procure cement, procure bricks, then get the manpower to basically get things done, get the blueprint defined, or get the map, basically how the house layout will be. So get all of that defined. So all these work items become the issues or the tasks to build a house. And when these issues or tasks move from start to finish, that's the process that these issues follow to build a house. And similar is true for any project. Now in Jira Work Management, if you are tracking any work item as part of the project, so work item will be represented as an issue. An issue can be of any type, right? So if you're doing the marketing project or sales project, there can be different issue type, which we'll cover when we move to the project creation anyways. So once those issues are part of the project, they will then follow a particular workflow, which is basically the underlying workflow for the project. So for building a house, there could be a workflow which is basically follows the statuses to do, in progress, and done, right? So if I have to procure cement, so I can create a issue type and keep it in to do until unless I have placed an order and it's in progress, right? So I can have that sort of workflow for building the house, which is my project. In the marketing project, it could be different workflow. It could be to do, ordered, or some other sort of statuses that can be part of that particular project. So workflows are the underlying process that the issues follow in those sort of projects. So to summarize all of these points that I have mentioned, Jira Work Management product is on top of Jira Core. It is an advanced version with a lot of great functionalities, and we'll explore all of that. It works exactly or almost similar, if not exactly, almost similar way as Jira software. So you will find it really easy to pick up this tool, right? So once we go through and explore Jira Work Management, you will find it really easy. All the issues in Jira Work Management will be represented by issues. So there will be issues, and then there will be different types. Then you will have the projects, depending on what type of work items you want to have those into that project. If you're a marketing team or sales team, you will have those sort of projects. You will have issues within those projects, and those projects will have underlying workflow, which will be followed by the issues from start to finish, right? So this is general introduction of Jira Work Management, and the next tutorial will explore a bit more about Jira Work Management when we go to the Atlassian website and see how you can sign up, some of the more key features, and how to go ahead and create your first project in Jira Work Management. So first thing, I'll go to Google and let's search for Jira Work Management. So just search for Jira Work Management. You will get this link here, Jira Work Management from Atlassian. So click on that link and it will redirect you to this Jira Work Management page, right? Now we have anyways covered the features of Jira Work Management, but feel free to walk through all the features that are supported. Go to this features tab and it will give you a list of all the features that are supported by Jira Work Management. And this is just a brief of it. It is such a good enhancement over Jira Core that you will absolutely fall in love with this particular product. Now, in order to sign up for Jira Work Management for free, you simply click on this get it free, right? So if you click on get it free, you simply have to basically it will get selected automatically, and then you can select a second product, which is basically your Confluence you can add to Jira Work Management. Now, if you are a software development organization and you are signing up for Jira Software, right? So Jira Software sign up by default will have Jira Work Management in it. Okay, so if you are a software development organization, go ahead, go for Jira Software, because anyways you will get Jira Work Management as part of that. But if you are just a business team and you want to, your marketing team, HR team, and you want to use Jira only for the business purposes, go ahead with the Jira Work Management and add a second product, which is basically free up to 10 users. Includes a 2 GB storage and community support, and it's always free. So you do not have to use credit card at all. So simply go next and follow the process here. It's absolutely simple. I'm not going to cover this. If you want to check this particular process, I'll put the link of the previous sign up process for the Jira Software in this video. Follow that. The process will be almost similar to what is explained in my previous video for the Jira Software sign up. Now, because I have signed up for the Jira Software already, Jira Work Management is part of it. Okay, so let's go to Jira Software. Now here, this is my Jira Software. So once I logged in, I can now see Jira Work Management is available for business teams, as you can see. But as part of the products, I just have Jira Software and Confluence, right? So as part of Jira Software is built on top of Core anyways. So Jira Work Management will be there by default, and you have Jira Software. And Jira Work Management is the next generation of Jira Core, as I have explained in previous tutorial already, that Jira Work Management is nothing but a next generation of Jira Core, which is for the business teams, your personal projects, business team, and we'll explore. There are so many features in Jira Work Management that you will absolutely be amazed what all new things they have added there. So if we simply click on this show me, you will see that you can go through all these details anyways, right? But let's quickly go ahead and create after the sign up process. Once you have followed the sign up process, you will be signed up and you will be on the page of the Jira Work Management if you are just signing up for the Jira Work Management. But if you have signed up for Jira Software, to create a Jira Work Management project, go to the projects and click on create project, right? So as soon as you will click on create project, and by the way, this is Jira Cloud version. Okay, this is not the server version, this is the cloud version. So in the project templates, you will see there are so many different templates, right? So depending on the department, you have service management, work management, marketing, HR, and all these templates are available there. And below these templates, if you see, you have the products, right? So as I have signed up for Jira Software, I have Jira Software. Then I have Jira Service Management because I chose Service Management along with the software, and Jira Work Management is anyways by default available as part of the Jira Software. So you can see Jira Work Management is there. If you just sign up for Jira Work Management with Confluence, you will get Jira Work Management here and Confluence, right? So that's what you will be having here. And if you are adding an add-on product as Jira Service Management, you will get Jira Service Management as well, right? So because we have Jira Work Management, if you click on this particular product, Jira Work Management here, you will see that you have all these different type of projects or templates available to track your work. So you have the project management, task tracking, and if you keep scrolling down, you have document approval, content management, basically for the content lifecycle, the document approval lifecycle, procurement, which is very, very important for the organizations to procure things. Then you have the new employee onboarding. This is absolute fantastic add-on. Like new employee onboarding is such a confusing, or not confusing, but most of the places where I have been onboarded, it hasn't been a very nice experience. But if you follow this particular process and the people are aligned around this process, you can see that you have this issue type, it is recommended for HR team. You have this very good workflow that you can utilize in new employee onboarding, and because it's Jira, there is transparency. You will have the issues visible to the whole team, where exactly the issues are, how things are progressing, right? So these are some of the very, very good templates. If you scroll down, you have new employee onboarding, sales pipeline, then you have the interview process template as well, right? So if we go up here, new employee onboarding, and then we have this recruitment, right? So if we go to recruitment, this is another, challenge. Basically, when we get applications, who filters the application? So usually if you have this process, so somebody is filtering the applications, then screening happens. Who is doing the screening? So all of that is basically part of this workflow, right? The workflow is already made for you out of the box. If you want to customize it, absolutely, you are free to go ahead and customize it. You need the administrator privileges, but by default, Jira Work Management has provided you all of those details out of the box, right? Now, say for example, let's go ahead and choose one particular template and go ahead and see what all can you do with Jira Work Management. So to create a recruitment project, say for example, there is an HR team which handles the recruitment process. For your HR team, why not go ahead a project, and all your recruitment process follows this particular process, right? This workflow. So use this template, click on use template, and you need to be an administrator to create the project, right? So if you're just a user of the Jira Work Management, you won't be having this use template. Basically, you won't be able to create the project. Okay, so click on create project, and I'll provide the project name. So I'll say RCV recruitment. Okay, and the key is taken by default. If you want to update it, you can update it here, but if you do not update it at the moment, so you can choose the descriptive prefix for your project key issue from this project, right? So you can update it prior to creating the project, and you can change it, right? So I'll keep it default, and then you can select what team is this for. So you can select the team from this particular drop down, right? So this is for human resources team, right? So these are all different teams that are available here. So we can choose the HR team here and click on create project. So once you click on create project, the project will get created and you will be redirected to the project board, right? Which will be very similar to what you have seen if you have worked on the Jira software. The difference will be that you will see the board, the process will be a bit different. So it will have a different issue types, and in the workflow you have screening, interviewing, interview debrief, discussions, accepted or rejected, right? So this project that has been created, you are on the board, you have the list view, summary, etc. and all. We'll cover all of these in details, what exactly all of these menu items represent and how you can basically go ahead and use Jira Work Management efficiently into your any of the business projects. All right. So we have took the template for the recruitment, but there are so many other templates. So basically, if you require Jira Work Management for any other department of your organization, you can go ahead and create a project which fulfills that particular department's requirements. Say for example, sales or marketing, right? So you can simply go to projects and you can click on create projects, and depending on which particular department you want to create for, so you can either simply go to the products Jira Work Management. It will filter out all the templates, project templates, which are only specific to Jira Work Management, and choose the template. Say for example, this is what I created last time. Now if you want to create a project for the procurement, you select that particular template, use the template and create the project for the procurement. Okay, so creating a project is absolutely fine. The only difference is within the projects among the department will be the workflow, or it will have certain specific features for that particular department, right? But overall on this particular screen, or after the project is created, you will find similar structure like the boards. You will have a left navigation bar where you will have the board, the calendar, timeline, etc. Okay, so let's see. This is the recruitment project, and let's create another project and see what will be the difference on this particular main page after we create other project type. Okay, so let's quickly go and create a project, and this time what I'll do is in Jira Work Management, let me create a project for procurement. All right, so you can see the workflow that procurement uses is a bit different, right? It's not same. So it has been customized to cater for the needs of the procurement process, and it is recommended for procurement teams or the operations team, and the product is Jira Work Management. And the issue type here is the order, right? Because when in procurement process you order the stuff, right? So that's what the issue type is. In the other project, it was a different issue type, which was the candidate, because it was the recruitment process. So we'll use this template. Let's say create a name. I'll say RCV procurement, and keys automatically here in the teams, because we know that this is for the procurement or the operations, right? So we can simply say operations here in the drop down and select create, right? So once I'll click on create, it will create a new project, which is the procurement RCV procurement project, right? Now on this page, if you see the difference, it is almost similar in terms of the navigation in the left hand side. The difference is around the workflow that you see here, the board basically, because it uses a different workflow which is relevant for the procurement process. But in the hiring process, the workflow will be different, right? Because hiring process will follow a different set of process to start the issue from to complete the issue from start to finish, right? So this is the only difference. Now on this particular project, if we go ahead and quickly look up around, so basically list, if you go to the summary, right? So if we say summary, this is where it will give you the summary of the project, right? So we don't have any issue in this particular project, so that's why it is giving you the recommendation to create the first issue. In the list, you will get the issue list. So whatever issues are there in this particular project will be listed here, and it will list a lot many details in the tabular format here, and you can customize this table accordingly, right? So if you click on this plus, you can select and deselect the values that you want to make visible on this particular list, and you want to deselect. If, say, for example, I do not want reporter here, I'll just uncheck that and the reporter column will go away, right? So this is how the list will appear. In the board, you will see the actual work process, the workflow that is being used for this particular project, right? So procurement has the workflow which is requested, in review, approved, purchased, and rejected. So that's what you will see in the procurement project. If I go to the candidate project, which is the recruitment project, then in that particular case, you will see the board is having different columns there, because the process in the recruitment process is different, right? So that's what the board will show. In the calendar, it will show you the details of the calendar. So basically, if, say, for example, you have the list of work items that have a due date, so in the calendar view, you will see clearly what due items are there on a particular date of the particular month, right? So that's very good feature of this particular project, that on the calendar you can easily view how things are progressing and what is due in next day or today. So you can basically focus on that particular item. So in the timeline, you will notice the timeline or the time of the issues that are there. So for example, if there are certain issues that are due on a particular date, so similar to calendar, basically in the calendar view, you will see the due date of the issues on a particular date of a month. In the timeline, it will show those details in a visual timeline manner, and we'll see all of that when we go ahead and create the issues. If you have worked on Jira software, it's similar to the roadmaps that you see in the Jira software. It will give you a clear picture of how the work is progressing, what is the due date, when the work needs to start, and when it needs to finish, right? Very, very helpful. Then we'll cover forms in detail. So we'll create the forms and we'll cover that as a separate topic. So here you can create the form, you can preview, and you can list it. Then you have the issues. So basically when you go to issues, you can search for the issues quickly, either with the basic search or the advanced search, which is JQL. And this is just about searching the issues in this particular project or in any other project. So this is basically how you filter issues in Jira. If we go back, we have the reports. So there are reports available for the business projects as well, and there are certain relevant reports that are available there. So we have issue analysis reports, and then forecast and management other reports, and these reports change depending on the type of project that you have and relevance of these reports for that particular project, right? So once we cover the report, so we have this business project basics. If you go to this particular link, it will give you the details of the how the Jira Work Management Cloud works. You can go through all of these tutorials if you want to, but if not, this is pretty self-explanatory, and I'll be covering most of the content anyways as part of this Jira Work Management tutorial series. Then you can add another link, another item here, which is basically the shortcut. If you want to add certain link of the website or any Confluence page, you can go ahead and add it here, right? You can provide the web address and the name and click on add, and that link will be added here as an item. Then in the project settings, which is the advanced settings, which we'll cover as part of separate tutorial again, wherein you can customize the details or the screens or what fields you see on this particular in this particular project. When you create issues, that all can be customized in the project settings, and you need to be admin for getting the project settings details, right? So this needs to be, you need to be project admin to configure the project details for a particular project. So this is all about this particular menu. At the top, you will see the your work, wherein you will get, if you drop down, you will see the recent and the boards, which will show you all of your work. In the project, it will show you all the projects that are available there, and if you are a member, you can access those projects. Filters is again the filter or how you find the issues, similar to what we have seen the issues here, right? So it's the same thing. If you click on issues or you click on filters, it will open the search screen, wherein you can search by the basic or the advanced search. So you can either click on advanced issue search. So if I click on advanced issue search, it will open this JQL, right? So you can see that it has directly switched to the Jira software because I have switched to the advanced issue search, and because my business project is also part of this whole instance, so I can search for any issue that is part of this particular instance, right? So let's go to the business project, which is recruitment project, and this is, you know, like a global level filter, but in the issues, if you go, this is more of a project sort of filter, right? So you'll see that this is more of a project filter. If you go to filters at the top, it is more of a global filter, which will filter your overall Jira instance. In the dashboard, this is sort of a global dashboard. You can create a specific dashboard for this project, and which will be applicable only for this project. In the people, you can create your own team, add the members of the team, and have the team. In the apps, you can explore the Atlassian marketplace, and there are many good apps for your business teams that if you want additional functionality for your teams, you can go to the apps and install the apps from the Atlassian marketplace. There are free apps, paid apps, all of that is possible from the Atlassian marketplace. All right. In the right hand side, you will see that you have the settings. These are the global settings or the administrator Jira administration settings. So if you have administrator access, you will see this cogwheel. Otherwise, this will be disabled, right? Here, this is the notification. If you are assigned something or you are mentioned somewhere, then you will get notifications here. This is more of a help, and here you can change your profile and display settings, right? Now, these are all the concepts that I have covered in my Jira tutorial anyways, but I'm covering these because considering that this is the basic series for the business users, I just want to cover all the aspects of any new person who is trying to use Jira in the business team, so that they are comfortable. Even if they are very new, do not know anything about Jira, they can understand and know how to use Jira for the business teams and what value Jira can bring to their business team. And it will be really helpful if you just follow along and see the power that it can bring and the streamlining of the process that can happen when you use Jira for business effectively. So let's go back to the project, right? And here, if we see that in the summary, if we go to summary or go to the list, so there are multiple options where you can create your first issue. You can either click on create your first issue here, click on create button here, or go to list. In the list, you will have options to add the issues directly, right? So from here, you can just click on add item, right? So I can click on add item and start typing in the details of the issue and hit enter, and the issue will be created. Next thing, I can go to the board, and from the board, I can click on create new issue, right? So if I click on create new issue, I can start typing in and save it. All right, or I can click on this create your first item, and what it will do is we cancel it. If I click on create your first item, it will directly open this particular option here. I can click on create, and this will open the create issue window for me, right? This screen will appear wherein I have option to configure the fields. So at the moment, all the fields are being selected. I can select the custom fields, which one I want to get displayed on this particular create issue screen as a user, right? So this option is available to any user in your project, so they can select and deselect the fields that will be available there, right? So that's one of the option. Then if we go to the calendar, there is an option to create the issue from the calendar as well. So say for example, on the calendar, I want to create an issue for, say for example, just double click on the calendar. It will open the details, right? Create issue window, and the due date accordingly will be selected wherever you will double click, or whichever day you will double click on, right? So if I want to create an issue for the due date of Thursday, which is 22nd of July, I'll just double click on it, or just single click is fine, right? So it's single click or double click, any of that works. Okay, so that opens and you'll see that due date is automatically populated, right? From the timeline as well, you can create. So it's that flexibility, right? So from timeline, I can click on this add item and start adding the item there. Forms is a complete separate issue, right? But complete separate section. But these are some of the places. So from summary, list, board, calendar, timeline, or I can, go to issues, which is basically the filter. That is the filter screen. So here we don't have any default option to create issue. Let me check here. We can import issues from CSV, but not create. We just can use this create button here. But apart from that, I think timeline, calendar, board, list, or summary, go anywhere depending on which option you want more convenient, go ahead and create it. Most of the time, what the managers or the team manager usually does is, so basically in the list, they will create all the items that need to be tracked, right? So to create an item, we can simply click on add item, and I will name it as candidate hiring for test analyst role. Okay, so once you have entered the title for the issue, right, hit enter, and you will see the issue has been created, right, and it's available in the list. Let me quickly copy the candidate hiring for, let's say, developer role, and enter, and I'll create a couple of issues there, right? So I'll say BA role, and I will say test architect role. Okay, so this is how you will basically create the list of issues from the list. Okay, and you can do it from anywhere, right? From the board as well, you will see that you can create directly from here, and whatever issues that have created now are available in the list, on the board, on the calendar. They won't be available because we haven't set any due date for them. Okay, so now let's see what all can be done when we create these issues, right? So if we go to the list, these are the issues that have been created, and now in the column view, you'll see the status, the assignee. You can assign these issues to any of the team member that will be working on these issues. The due date, right? So for example, this role needs to be filled by 22nd of July. The other one is 29th. The other one is 21st. And then says, for example, another, this again 22nd of July, right? And now let's say we change the priority here. Okay, we are getting this error. So this is definitely the configuration issue. So field priority cannot be set. So this looks like the field is not available on the screen, right? So that how you can fix these sort of issues. First thing, you have to be the administrator, right? So in this case, say for example, you are getting these sort of errors. Let's see how you can quickly go ahead and fix it. Okay, so we'll simply view the details and see whether this particular priority field is available there or not, right? So if you'll see, there is no priority field available here. And if we go to create using this option, right, so there is no priority field available here as well. And that is why, because priority field itself is not on this particular screen, it is not allowing you to set it here because it is not on the screen. So what we can do is we can basically you can go to the project settings, right? And from the project settings, we can go to the screens. So you will see that these are the screens, and these are the screens for the create, edit and view. Okay, so if we go to the edit screen, it will open the details of the edit screen, and here we do not have any priority field, right? So simply start typing in the priority, okay, and add the priority there. If you want to move it up somewhere, so after issue type we want to add priority there, we will simply add the priority there. Okay, so now this particular recruitment edit and view screen has the priority, okay, but the create won't still have the priority again. Okay, so let's see. Now we go back, okay, close it and try to edit this particular edit or view, right? So now you can see the priority is there on the edit screen, okay? And now if we try to change the priority from here, you will see the priority is getting updated, right? Because it's part of the view and edit screen. Now, if I go to create now, you won't still see the priority field here because in the create issue screen, we haven't added that priority. Okay. So if you want to add that, you have to have the project admin settings, project admin rights, go to project admin, right? The cogwheel, and go to the screens, and on this particular project screen, so create issue. So we have added it in the view and edit issue. So it's already there in the create issue as well. You can click on the create issue screen and add the priority field. Simply search for the priority and add it there. Okay, if you want to move it up, simply drag and drop and it will be available after the attachment. Okay, so let's go back and see that this is working as expected. So this has been done. Let's go to the recruitment project again and click on create now, and now you will see priority is available. Okay, so this is how you can configure the fields. If field is not visible, you are getting any sort of errors, this is how you will basically troubleshoot those. Okay, now once we have created these issues, right? So we were on the list. Now we can set the priority. We have changed the priority. We can set the labels. So labels, what are labels? So labels are the quick sort of tagging, right? So say for example, I want to tag all my candidates that I'm hiring for testing department with the label as testing, right? So I can just create a label testing there. Okay, and if the testing label is not there, you can just click on new label and a new label will get created. And because this candidate is being hired for the testing role, we can tag all the testing related role with the labels testing, right? And anyone with the BA, we can create a label BA, and anyone with the developer role, we can add the label developer there. What is the benefit of adding the labels? It helps you to quickly find the issues with the labels, right? So say for example, I want to find the issues or find the applications or the candidate hiring applications that are for the testing department. I can simply filter by labels testing and it will filter all the issues by that particular label. Okay, and now you have the created and updated here, so all that is displayed. I can configure the display of the columns here, so I can check and uncheck the display here from this particular plus icon. And if I say for example do not want to have this created and updated, I can uncheck that, but I want to have this hiring manager and hiring department being displayed, then I can check that and hiring department and manager will be displayed here. Okay, now if we go to this view details of this issue, let's understand some of the important information on this particular issue. So here you can provide all the description and save the description. You can add attachments, links, etc. Who is the hiring manager, provide the details for that, department, role, start date, etc. And then there are two more fields. So the estimate, how much estimate it is, and then time tracking, who is spending time on it. If they want to log the time, the amount of time they have spent on this particular application working on it, they can log the time there. Okay, so this is a brief about how you can create the issues in any business project with Jira Work Management, right, which was previously Jira Core, and then use it for your business projects and add a lot of value and streamlining for the business projects in your organization. the flow of work in the business projects. Now, if you are coming from Jira software, this is nothing new. The flow of work for business projects will look very similar to Jira software, but if you are from the business background and you are looking at the Jira for the first time, I would like to cover what will be the flow of work and what workflow is basically, right? So if you go to the board here, right, on the board you will see all the issues that we have created are available, and there are certain columns available, right? Now this is what the transparency that Jira brings, because you can view, or everyone in the team who has access to this particular project can view the work items on the board and where exactly those work items are at the particular time, right? So this screen that you see here, the board, is basically the underlying flow of work that happens. This screen is mapped to a workflow, right, or the process that these issues follow from start to finish, right? So when you are trying to hire a candidate, you will get an applications, then you will do the screening, interviewing, debrief, other discussion or offer discussions, and then either the candidate can be accepted or rejected, right? Now if you go to any of these issues, right, so if I click on that particular issue, if you want to see what workflow this particular issue follows, how the workflow looks like, okay, so we can simply go to this particular issue and just click on this drop down here, right? And here you will see the transitions that are available from screening. So either from screening can go to interviewing or it can be rejected. And let's see the workflow. So click on view workflow and it will open the recruitment workflow, right? This is the workflow that is being tied up to that particular board. Okay, so you can, once you create an issue, it goes to the application state. Then when you move it to the screening, it comes to the screening, and from screening it can either go to the rejected, right, or it can go to interviewing. Okay, so on the board you can move it to interviewing, or from the board you can directly drag and drop the issue to the rejected column as well. But you cannot move it back. As you can see, there is just single arrow from applications to screening. You cannot move it back to applications. You cannot move it back. You cannot move it forward from screening to interview debrief. It has to go to interviewing or rejected. From interviewing it can be rejected, or it can go to debrief. From debrief, if the candidate is offered, they can go to the offer discussion, or from here it can be rejected, right? So you can see that each of these states that are there, from there a candidate can be rejected or move further to the next step. But you can't, if the offer discussions are going on, you can't move that particular issue to interview debrief, right? Because this you will be moving the issue from interview debrief to offer discussion only if debrief has been completed. So that's the understood thing, and that's how the workflow has been designed. Now this is the default workflow. If you want this workflow to be updated and your project uses the onboarding, or there are some different statuses that you want to cover as part of the onboarding, this is absolutely possible, right? So you can create a custom workflow and associate with the project that you are doing. So that is all possible, but that can be done by the administrator or the Jira administrator from your organization. So this is how the workflow, default workflow, will look like. So let me just close it. All right. So now if as I explained, that I can either move this issue to interviewing or to rejected, right? So that's how you will see that whether why I'm not able to move this issue to interview debrief. This is the reason, because the underlying workflow itself is not allowing you to move directly to interview debrief. It is allowing either to move it to rejected or to interviewing state. Once I move it to interviewing state, then I can either move it to debrief or rejected, and whichever statuses you can move the issue to will be highlighted in this dotted lines. Okay, I can't move it, any further back. Okay, so that's how the workflow for these issues works for a project. And as I mentioned in the first tutorial itself, that any work that you need to do will consist of the work items or issues, if we say in Jira, and those work items follow certain process from start to finish. And this is the process, this is the workflow that these work items need to follow for your organization to hire the candidates, right? And this is what you are going to follow, your HR team is going to follow to offer the candidate the job role or to reject them. So this is basically how the workflow is. Now moving further and looking at some other aspects of these issues, right? So this is how the board will look like. like the underlying workflow. And if we go to the calendar, as we have mentioned, that calendar view shows you what is the due date of these particular issues. So with the calendar view for a particular month, if somebody goes and have a look, they can see what is basically pending and what needs to be done in near future. So this is very, very important feature of Jira Work Management. So if we go to the timeline, then this will show the issues in the timeline fashion, right? So all of these issues, so if you just hover over, there is no start date because we haven't specified, and then there is an end date, right? So whatever end date that we have specified will be displayed for those issues in the timeline fashion, right? So this will help you to visualize how many issues how many issues need to be completed in a particular month, and etc. Okay, so that gives a visual representation how much time basically an issue can take. So say for example, I want to specify the start date, right? So I can just drag it, right? So say for example, I want to get this particular issue start today, right? And then maybe finish in August, right? So this might be, a lengthy issue or lengthy onboarding process. Then I can adjust these sliders and the dates will get updated accordingly for this particular issue. Now the issue end date should be 15th of August, right? So if you go to this RR4, you will see that the due date is 15th of August and the start date is automatically updated as well. Okay, so this is what the timeline will help you to analyze. What is the duration of the work item, how long that particular work item is going to span, what is the start and finish date for that. Okay, then if we move further in the issues, we can search for the issues. Okay, so this is what we'll cover in the next tutorial, how you can search and what different types of search options are available in Jira Work Management. Created 4 issues, we have added the labels to the issues, and now let us go to the search of issues within the project. So to search the issues in this particular project, you simply have to go to this issues, and when you go to the issues option here, you will get many filter available by default, right? So this is basically all issues. When you select all issues, it will give you the list of all issues in this particular project. So this project RCV recruitment is already selected. It will list all the issues there. My open issues reported by me, so anything reported by you or the person who is logged in at that particular time will list the issues that are reported by that particular person. Then we have this open issues, done issues. These are all pretty simple and straightforward filters, right? And if you go to view all filters, it will list all the filters that are available, right, in that particular instance. So we'll go to the project again, back to the recruitment project, because if you go to view all filters, it will go to the global filters and it will list all the filters that are there. Okay, but we are interested in the business project, so we'll go to the recruitment project, and here we'll go to the issues. And if you're a part of the business project, simply go to the issues, and from here, this is the basic search drop down, right? So you can directly search the issues. So for example, RR, if I start typing and I will say 4, then you will see that particular issue has been displayed. Okay, so that is the quick filter basically. Then I can select the specific assignee. Say for example, who is the assignee? I can filter based on the assignee, reporter, status. So what is the status? So whether the issue has been accepted or not. So if you want to select based on the status, select the status from this drop down. And then similarly, type. We know that there is just single type here, and there can be subtype which we haven't created. But in the status, we can select the status category, which are in progress or which are done. Okay, so this is basic search that is available there. And if we want to search with the advanced option, simply go to the JQL. All right, click on JQL, and this is basically the query language, Jira query language, and you can specify your own query to search for the issues, right? So say for example, I want to search for the issues that have the label testing. Okay, so I can say project is equal to RR and then followed by and I can say label is equal to testing. Okay, and select the label there and hit enter, and it will list the issues that are having that particular label that we have selected. Okay, so similarly, you can write the complex JQL queries to find any number of issues or depending on the states or the dates. So JQL is very vast topic. If you want to learn about JQL, go ahead and watch my Jira software tutorial for development teams. I've covered JQL in very detail there, and the concept of JQL are standard across the Jira products. So it doesn't matter whether you are using Jira Business, Jira Core, or Jira software, it still remains valid. All right. So most of the interfaces, the way Jira works is absolutely similar and will help you in finding the issues. So this is how you will use a JQL. Then you have this go to advanced search. Okay. So click on, if I go to advanced search, then you will see where it goes to the global search. Okay, so it's no more in the project search of the business project. It goes to the global search, and which is again the JQL search. Okay, so if you want to stay in your business project and your business project is part of the Jira software, then it's better to basically just be in the business project and search for the issues from here. If you are pro in the JQL and searching for the issues from the filters or global JQL or global advanced search basically, then you can go to the advanced search and search for the issue. Then we have this option of the list view and detail view. If you go to the list view, it will list all the issues in the list fashion. Detail view will select the list and will show you the issue details as well. Okay, so these are very basic things, but I think it's really good to understand what all options are there and how as a user you can use things effectively within Jira without getting confused about too many things that are available there on the Jira screens. Okay, then I'll cover this bulk change option. So basically what bulk change does is you can update the issue details in bulk. So if I say for example want to change something in the bulk, right? So say for example I want to change the start date or end date or assignee, I can select bulk change all issues and then select the issues that I want to bulk change, right? And then click on next. Second thing you want to do is you have to either choose the operation, what you want to do. You want to move, you want to transition. So you can transition issue from one state to another. And if say for example, you have 100 issues that you want to transition, right? So that's where this bulk update or bulk action helps a lot. So I can simply say, for example, I want to edit the issues. I can select edit issues, click on next. And I want to change the priority of all the issues, right? So I'll simply select the change priority and I will change the priority of all the 4 issues to highest. Okay, so just select that particular field that you want to change, select the value of the field that you want to change it to. Okay, and then scroll down. There are many other fields. If you want to change, you can select that and then scroll down and click on next. You can click on send mail for this update. If you want to receive an email, but I don't want, I can click on next, and then email notification will not be sent because I haven't selected that, and simply confirm, right? So click on confirm. And at the moment priority is different, but after this bulk change, all the issues should have priority highest. So let it finish. So bulk operation has finished now. Let's click on done and go to the list view again and refresh the page. So now you can see all the priority for the issues has been updated to highest, right? So that's how you can do bulk change. And to do the bulk change, just right side 3 ellipses and click on bulk change all issues, and it will update all issues based on the bulk change that you select here. Okay, so this is all about the issue filter, basically how you can filter the issues and bulk change the issues and different views there, right? So other option here you can see is the exporting of the issues. So you can export issues as well from the project. So from this drop down, if I want to export these issues into XML or RSS, the most used format is the Excel, which is basically CSV. So you might want as your project to send this export or export it and import it in some other project. So you can export the Excel and have a look at that, all the details that are there in the Jira, or you can export these details in the Word document as well. Okay. Other option is creating the dashboard gadgets, which I'll cover in separate tutorial when we'll cover the dashboard part and how you can add the gadgets on the dashboard. Okay. So this is a brief about how you can basically search issues in any of the business project in Jira Work Management. previously we have understood about a couple of details, for example, how to create the project, and after creating the project in Jira Work Management, how you can basically customize the board that you see that has been created in the Jira Work Management project. So first thing to understand here is that if you're not the administrator of the Jira Work Management, then you won't be able to change the board at all in your Jira Work Management project. Okay, but if you're the administrator, you can update the details in the board, you can change the underlying workflow, etc. So how you can identify whether you are the administrator? If you see this right hand side setting, the cogwheel, if you'll click on it, you will see that I see a lot of details here. So Atlassian admin, Jira settings, and personal settings, right? So this sort of menu shows that the person is basically the Atlassian admin and has all the system admin and other level details, right? So on the Jira Cloud version, I'm the admin, so I'll be able to update the board. So to update the board, say for example, directly from the board, I can drag and drop these columns. Okay, so for example, I want the columns in a different order. That is basically possible when I drag and drop these columns accordingly. Okay, but this is not helpful in many cases. So how, say for example, I want to rename this particular text that is appearing on this particular column or delete the column altogether. Okay, so how you can do it? You have to be the administrator first. And then once you are at administrator, you can go to the project setting, and from the project settings, go to the workflows. Now here in this workflow, you will see that you have this little pencil icon for this recruitment workflow scheme, right? Now we know that this is the recruitment project that we created, which is the business project and part of the Jira Work Management. So we can simply edit this, click on this pencil icon and go to the diagram view. And as soon as you will click on the edit workflow, you will see that you will get a message you are editing a draft workflow. So what happens basically when you click on edit? Automatically Jira Work Management creates a draft version of the workflow, and it is true for any Jira project, so Jira software or Jira Work Management. It creates a draft of the workflow, and you whenever you are changing something, you are changing on the draft. Once you are happy with the draft, you can publish it back to the live workflow. So as far as you are editing here, so say for example, I want to change something here, right? So say I want to change the name of this particular interview debrief column to something else. So select that particular status and click on edit, right? And here you can change the name. So say for example, I want to update something there. Okay, and I want to add some description, right? So I'll add the description. I can change the category, but this is the progress, so I will just keep it as progress, but I can, if I want, I can change the category as well, and then click on save. So you will see that the workflow status has been renamed. Okay, and I can just move it a little bit here. So you can see that the workflow status has been renamed, and now if I am happy with this, I can simply publish this draft and it will be applied to the board that is associated with this particular workflow, right? If I want to add a status to this particular board, so say for example, to this workflow, I want to add a new status. So I can say for example, I want to add the approved status. Okay, and here what this shows, this checkbox is, if I'll check this, it will allow all the statuses to transition to this one. What this means is that if I add an approved status, right, so approved status will be available. Okay, and issue from any of these statuses can be moved to the approved status. Okay, that's what this all transition means. If you do not have or do not want the all transition, you want, say for example, I want the transition only to happen from, say for example, accepted to approved or approved to accepted, right? So in that case, we have to create the transition manually. So if I highlight on any of these statuses, you will see that these dots appear, and you can just drag and drop to add the transitions from one status to another. But you won't be able to do this in this draft workflow. There is a different way to do it. We have to create a copy of this particular workflow, inactive workflow. It will create a copy, and then we have to edit the copy and assign it to this particular project, or allocate the new workflow that we update to this particular project. All right. So as of now, what we can do is we can add a status which can transition to all, and we have changed the name of the workflow, right? So name of the status of this particular workflow. So we have just renamed that. So this will basically get applied to the board that is there, right? So if I simply, click on publish this draft, it will give me the window to basically save a backup copy. If I want to save a backup copy, you can say yes or no, depending you want to save it or not. I don't want to. If you specify yes, then you can specify the copy of the workflow that you want to take backup. Okay, I'll say no and publish this, and now this particular workflow, updated workflow, will take effect. And if I go to the project again, so you simply go to the back to project and go to board, so you will see that it has added this interview brief, the text that we have changed, right? And then this is the new approved status that we added, right? So which accepts all transitions. Okay, so this has been added as well. Okay, so that's available, and now you can drag and drop to any places where you want this particular status to be. And if you'll see that approved will accept the issues from any status, right? So say for example, this particular issue is at interview debrief, still approved will accept this particular issue to be moved, because approved is the status that will accept all transitions. Okay, and that's what this all transition thing means in the workflow. I have posted a complete series on the Jira workflows. If you want to dig deeper into the advanced workflow concept, I'll highly recommend that. I'll put the link for that Jira workflow in the tutorial as well. So if you want to configure the Jira workflow or the Jira Work Management workflow, concept is exactly same. It doesn't matter you're using Jira Work Management or Jira software, the workflow concept is same for both. So that will help you a lot in configuring these workflows. Now one more thing, if I go to the project settings again, go to workflows, edit the workflow, and here, say for example, I'll try to add, from approved to accepted or accepted to approved, right? If I try to add a new transition, say for example, okay, so I'll try to add a new transition. In this case, say for example, I name it to approved 1 and add it, you'll see that it won't allow you to do it. Okay, but if I try to reuse, let's see whether it allows the existing transition. So transition, say for example, offer accepted, that will be allowed. Okay, so there are a couple of things in terms of the transitions and statuses that are limited, but there are few things that you will be able to do within the project details, right? So in this particular case, what happens is, if I have to create a new transition, then in that case I have to create a copy of this workflow which will be inactive and not the draft, and then I can edit more details on that. Okay, but there are few things, for example, renaming, adding a new status, moving the issues, or accepting the all transitions in that particular status. That is all possible. And if there is something which you can't do here, then there is another way to do it, and I'll cover that in the next tutorial, how you can, say for example, delete a transition, right? So say for example, I want to remove this status. Okay, or so if I click on remove, then you will say statuses can't be removed from active workflow. So this message appears. So how we can handle that, let's understand that in the next tutorial. So that's all for this tutorial on how to configure boards in Jira Work Management. It is a bit tricky, but because this will be done by your administrator, so if you are aware that how this is being done, and you won't be able to do or edit the board if you are the user, just the user of the Jira Work Management project. So you will know that you have to basically go ahead and ask the Jira administrator to update the board for you, right? So as we go to the Jira recruitment project, there is nothing that you will be able to find, right? So you won't be able to edit if you are just the user of the Jira Work Management project. But this video will help you to understand who will be able to do it and how they will be able to update this workflow. This is in continuation with the previous tutorial about how you can configure the board, and I've explained in the previous tutorial that if you are the user of the Jira Work Management project and not the administrator, Jira administrator, in that case you won't be able to edit the boards or the workflow. So you have to request your administrator, Jira admin, to update the board, and they can change the columns accordingly as per your needs, or remove the columns or the workflow status from the workflow. Now there are few things that we have seen as part of that previous tutorial that if you want to remove a status from the board and the workflow, you won't be able to do it directly even though you are the admin. Just going to the workflow, say for example I go to the project settings and go to the workflow, I won't be able to do it even though I'm the Jira project admin. So how we can handle that? So we'll go to the workflows, right? And now you can see I'm in this particular business project at the moment. This is the project settings. So in order to achieve or update the workflow and create a copy of it, you don't need to do it from the project. Okay, so if I go to edit this particular workflow, you will see that I won't be able to delete any of the statuses from here, right? So if I want to remove status, it will show me this message that statuses can't be removed from active workflows. So how can we create a copy? You'll see that it says you have to create a copy and then update it and then apply it back to this particular project. So let's go ahead and understand and do it. Okay, so in order to create the copy of this particular workflow and remove some of the statuses or create a custom transition, what we have to do is we have to be the Jira admin, and we'll go to this settings in the right hand side. Okay, and then go to the issues. You can see here it says configure your issue types workflow screen. So we want to configure the workflow, right? So we'll go to the workflows, and this is my global setting, right? So global workflow. So if I'll go to the workflows here, this is not project specific. All the workflows that are there will be visible to me, right? And you will see that this is the recruitment workflow that I want to update or I want to remove the status from. So I can create a copy of it, and it will create a copy of the recruitment workflow, and click on copy. Now on this particular copy, I can remove the statuses. Okay, if I'll select it now, because this is the inactive workflow, and we can remove statuses from the inactive workflows only, not the active or the draft workflow as we were seeing in the previous video. So I can select it and I can click on remove status, and now I should be able to remove it. So click confirm and you will see that it has been removed. Now because this status has been removed, now there is no transition basically from to this particular status, right? So this is not a valid case because you can't have a status which doesn't have any transition at all. So you have to basically add a transition. So say for example, I want to add a transition from interviewing to offer discussions. I can simply drag and drop this line from one status to another. And if I want to create a new transition, I can create that. I can create a new transition. I can give a new name to this transition, or I can reuse the existing transition. If there is an existing transition that I want to reuse, then I can reuse. But here you will see that there are no transitions going to this status. So we have to create one, right? So I'll simply name it as offer discussions. You can provide any name as per your need and relevance, and then click on add, right? You will see the transition has been added. So the status has to have a transition. Once you are happy that this edit is all good in your workflow, then you simply have to basically activate this workflow and assign it to the project that you are using on. Okay, so once this is done, how we can assign this workflow to the existing project, right? So in order to do that, we'll go to the workflow scheme. Okay, and in the workflow scheme, you will see that this recruitment project, right? This is the scheme for it. This is the project. And the workflow that is being used at the moment is the recruitment workflow, which was the active workflow which we used to create a copy. Right now, we'll simply edit it. The scheme, we'll edit the scheme and we'll assign the workflow that we just created. Okay, so once we edit the scheme, we'll simply click on this assign. Okay, not this one, sorry. We'll simply click on this add workflow, right? And we'll say add existing in this drop down, select add existing, and we need to select the copy of this copy of RR. This is what we have just updated and we have removed. If you'll select this, you will see that it shows you the workflow that we just updated, which has this particular status removed and a new transition added. Okay, so we'll simply select that, click on next. Now we have to specify what all issue types we want to assign. Okay, so now with this particular project, we know that there was only one issue type, which was candidate. We'll just select that and click on finish, right? If you want more issue types, you can select from here. But because this is a recruitment project, we know that the issue type candidate should be enough. So we'll simply select candidate issue type and click on finish. And you will see that this particular workflow has been also associated with this particular scheme. Now there are two workflows. Okay, so I do not want the old workflow at all. So I'll simply remove it, and now only copy of this RR recruitment workflow is available for me. Okay, so now once I'm happy, I have to make sure that I publish it. So once I'll publish it, this workflow should be applied to the project. There are a few more steps that we have to follow. After you'll publish, it will say that this is the current status, right? And in the new status, where do we want this status? Because this is the status that we have removed, right? So if there were any issues in this particular status, where do you want those issues to be moved in the new workflow? So you select, say for example, I want to move them to offer discussions. Okay, interview debrief to offer discussions, and then associate. So once you'll say associate, it will start the publishing of the workflow scheme for this RCV recruitment project. Let it finish. Once it's finished, the migration is happened. Click on acknowledge, and you'll see the workflow. Your workflow has been published message. And now if I go to the recruitment project, I will see that the new workflow, the new board is here, right? So we have offer discussions, accepted, rejected, and approved. The other status or the column that was there, which we renamed in the previous workflow, is no more, right? So this is how you are going to edit your workflows in Jira Work Management project. It's a bit tricky, little bit tricky, but you have to just understand the flow of how you will create the copy. So from the project settings of a particular project, you can't create a copy. So you have to go to the Jira administration workflows, where you can see all the workflows. You create a copy, edit the workflow, edit the copied workflow basically, which will be the inactive. Then you go to the scheme, workflow scheme, and associate the new edited workflow to the scheme and remove the old one which you do not want to see. And that's how you will basically edit the workflow. Now, if you are an admin, changing the column order is just like dragging and dropping on the screen. Okay, so this is pretty simple, but rest anything which is behind this particular board is a little bit tricky. So watch this tutorial. I hope this will be helpful to make you understand how things are tied up and help you in editing the board settings, configure the board in Jira Work Management project, and configure or edit the workflow in Jira Work Management project. Now, forms are very good feature, I would say, and very helpful, and I'll give you a real scenario where you can use it. So say for example, I've created a recruitment project, and that's what we are going through in this particular series. And recruitment requests can be raised by any of the department within your organization, right? So if you can create a good looking form and share with any of the department and make it basically available to all your organization, they can quickly raise the request for the recruitment along with the job description, and they can submit those requests, and those requests will then come to you as the hiring team, and you can then track those requests and coordinate those tasks, right? So that's what basically forms will help you to achieve. So if you go to this form, so in the business project, go to forms, right below timelines, and once you go to forms, you will see that the basic form is available there, right? And what exactly form does is it will help you. If you simply go to the, let's say, go to this information, right, you will see how these forms work, right? So it gives a quick preview. So you create the forms first, right? So that form you create, then you preview. I'll show you how you will create and preview the forms, how the forms will look, and then you can share with the departments to basically submit the request, and then you can get the request that you get out of these forms. So we'll see all of that in action. Okay, so this is the quick use of it. Now to create the form, what you have to do is you have to simply drag and drop the fields that you see here. By default, there is a summary and description and attachment, right? So say for example, this is the recruitment form that you want to share with all the departments. Whenever they are raising a recruitment request, they have to fill the summary of the profile, the role they are hiring, the description, and attach the job description. If you want to add the hiring department, right, so summary, hiring department, hiring manager, job role, you just drag and drop these values, right, and due date. I think all of these are really important because the job role, hiring manager, and department will help you to basically coordinate with those people, whoever is hiring manager, to go ahead and coordinate and conduct the interviews and accordingly, right? If you want, you can add the priority as well. So just simple dragging and dropping will create the form for you. Okay, Now, once the form is fine, you are okay with it. Okay. Now, if I want to edit any of these details in the form, so I can simply click on this change label, and the label you can rename accordingly as per your need. Okay. Then here, this icon, this will hide the field, right? Because this is the required field, it can't be hidden. But if I hide this particular field, you will see that it has moved to the actual form, right? So that's how you will basically remove. Either you just hide it, or I think you can just drag and drop as well, right? So same thing. Once you are done with it, once you edit everything to reorder these, you simply drag and drop. That's absolutely easy. And once everything looks good, then you can go ahead and check the preview, how the form will look like. So if I click on preview, you will see this is how the form will look like. And if any department wants to raise a request for recruitment, they will just fill all these information accordingly and submit the request. Okay. So once this form is basically ready, then I can share. Okay. So I can share with the team or with the department, or I can simply copy the link and put it on the Confluence page and publish that page and make an announcement that this is the process that people have to follow in order to raise a request. Right. So in that case, once, say for example, I got the link. Okay. So I am the team. So I am one of the team. So I'll simply use that form link. I'll open the form, right? So let me quickly submit a request using that form that we have created. Okay. So we have to be logged in. Yes. So let me copy the link and open in the same window. So this is the new tab, and I've opened this form, and let me submit this. Okay. So this is, I'll say, sample recruitment request. I'll say from form so that we can easily recognize. And in the job role, I'll say test director. This is high priority, highest, hiring manager. I would say put some name there. Department is, say for example, testing, and the due date. So here by 26th of August. If I want to provide the description, you will see that these fields are non-mandatory, but this one is mandatory, right? Summary, you'll see the star here. So you have to make sure that there is value there for sure when somebody is filling the form. Description and the attachment for the job description. Okay. So once the person does it, then they can click on submit, and you will see that submission has happened, and we'll come back and let's see, we have got this request in our list, right? So you'll see this request has been received. Sample recruitment request from form is available in our list, and this is coming from the business form. If I'll open this, whatever details I have filled in the form will be available here, right? So this is highest, hiring manager, testing, test director, and all of those details are available. If there would have been any attachment, it will come here. And now the recruitment team will get all these tasks directly from the departments that need to hire candidates, and they can track all these requests. And these forms, there is limitless possibilities. I mean, these forms you can use to benefit or automate or streamline so many processes around your organization, be it your hiring, be it your customer feedback or employee feedback. These forms will really help you to capture all that information and streamline the work within your projects using Jira Work Management, right? So that's a brief introduction about the forms in Jira Work Management product and how you can create the forms, beautiful forms, and popularize or basically publish those forms for your departments to use and streamline your processes. Okay. So I'll simply log off. So what I'll do is I'll log off as an administrator. This is the admin account, and let me log in with the I again logged in as a administrator. So let me go back. So the other user that I'm logging in is not the Jira administrator. Okay. So you'll see if I'll click on this settings, right? So you do not have access to Jira settings or Atlassian admin. I have to create or I have to contact the Jira admin. So this is the normal user, and that's usually what, when you are working in Jira Work Management or any Jira software project, this is how you will get access if you are not the administrator, right? So we were working with this Jira Work Management project, which is RCV recruitment. So say, for example, you are the team member and you are working on this particular project. So what all you will see most of the things that we saw till now in the tutorials. The only thing is, like, you can't do any of the administration settings. So you can't change the column settings here. You can't go and edit. So because I'm the project admin, or basically this user that is logged in is a project admin, so that person will see the project settings. But if you're just a team member and not a project manager for the business project, then you won't be having that access as well. So you won't be seeing this cogwheel or seeing the project settings as well. So even the project manager for the business project won't be able to change the workflow or edit the workflow or update the columns. This is how the Jira Work Management is. Now, in terms of working in this particular project, you can simply go to the list. All other accesses will be available there. Say, for example, I want to create an item or work item. I can simply click on the plus sign and I have the access to create the work item, right? So I'll simply say work item and enter, and you will see the work item got created in the list, right? And this is the new user that has reported it. This is me logged in as a project admin, right? You might be working as a team member, so you won't see the project settings, but you will still be able to add the items. You will be able to see the items on the board and then move the items accordingly on the workflow as the items progress into the project, right? You will be able to have the access to the calendar, the timeline, etc. So all of that, even though you are not the Jira administrator, you will be having the access because you are actually working in the project. As far as you are the member of the project, depending on the roles and access level provided to those roles, you will be having the access on this particular project. Now, with the Jira administration, whether it's Jira software or the Jira Work Management, there is a possibility that the access level has been restricted for certain roles or members of the team. So if that's the case and your Jira Work Management has been customized, you might not be able to access few things. So if you encounter those sort of things, the right question to basically ask is to go to your project manager or the lead and ask, you are not getting that access. Then you will get an answer whether you are supposed to get access for that or not, right? So that's how you can basically go ahead and sort things out. The good thing, once you know all these things, access level and the concept behind the Jira and the tools, it shows that you know the stuff, and it's a sort of a good impression when you do not go blindly or blank and do not know what happens behind the scene. So that is why I'm basically covering that. In case you are not able to add the item to the list or to the board, you know that you do not have access or you do not have permission, so you can ask question whether this particular role which I am in has the permission or not, right? Moving to the other, so forms, I can, because I'm the project administrator, so I can still basically update the form or create the form. So project admins can also create and update the form for this particular project, right? Then in the issues, you can get the issues for that particular project. You can search either through the basic search or the advanced search through the JQL, right? And you have the access to report and in the project settings only if you are the project administrator. Now, once you are logged in as a user, you can go ahead and personalize your user settings as well. Okay, so go to the cogwheel and you can update your time zone and other profile information or the personal Jira settings, right? So if you go to personal Jira settings, you can update the details. For example, the watch issues, right? So watch issues, if you are if you check, say for example, you are watching issue, if I'm watching the issue, if there is any update happening on the issue, I get notified via the email. If I check this, I'll get the notifications via email if I'm the reporter. So I can update all these details accordingly, and then those personal settings will take effect for my profile, right? So let me go back to the project, recruitment project, and that's pretty much it. I think this is all about the personal settings, how you can update the personal settings. You can go to this profile settings and change the profile, your profile image, etc. So I can go to the profile here and I can update the profile. I can update other details. So say for example, what my role is, the department, etc. I can update all of that. And then I can also go to the account settings and personal settings. So this is Jira personal settings where we were from this particular cogwheel, right? I can go to Jira personal settings or my profile or the account settings. So I can go to the account setting and update the profile and visibility. Right, so a lot of possibilities for the user to customize the look and feel for yourself, for your profile, and for the project that you are working with. You will be, depending on your role, you will be having access to work on the items. So basically you'll be, say for example, you are responsible for these work items, you can go ahead and move or work on those items and close the items. So that's all about this brief tutorial on if you're a member of a team and working on Jira Work Management project, what all access you will have and how you are going to work on the issues and progress the issues. There is nothing complicated as such. If you're a member, you simply have to pick the tasks that are assigned to you. You can filter based on assigned to yourself, due this week, and mostly check what is assigned to you and work on those items, right? One of the scenarios that has been asked by one of my subscriber. So the question that has been asked is that as part of the analysis, I stumbled across needing to create customized field for the forms. How do I go about using new customized field in a new form that I am creating? Okay, so and then they have given a thanks message. So thank you very much for appreciating the work that I'm doing. So let's quickly go ahead and see that how you can create the customized field in Jira Work Management, first thing, and then how you can add those customized field into the form that you are using, right? So at the moment, if you see this particular form here, right? So this is the business project, RCV procurement project. And if you go to the form section of the Jira Work Management, you will see the form, right? In order to create the form, you can drag and drop these fields that are available in the right hand side, right? Now, mostly in the actual scenarios, you will be having different requirements for different clients, and you would be having to, or you would need to use different fields here, right? So how you can customize these fields or add new fields as per the requirement of your clients, and then use those fields in your form. Say for example, there is another field that I want to add here. How can I go about it and then display them here so that I can use it in the form? Okay, so let's quickly go ahead and see how it's done. So the first thing is you need to be Jira administrator, and this is Jira Cloud instance. So you need to be the administrator in order to perform all the things that I'm going to show in this particular tutorial. So if you go to this settings cogwheel, right, if you see the details, I'm getting settings, Jira settings and all of the details, and then in the personal settings, and I'm also the Atlassian admin. So I have access to everything. Now, because this is field, right? So this is one of the fields. So first thing we need to do is we need to add the custom field. Okay. So to add the custom field, go to this issue type, workflow, screen, custom fields, right? So go to this section here, and here, if we go to the field section, right? So let's go ahead and quickly add the custom fields. So in the custom fields, as you click on that, if you have the administrator access, you will see this create custom field. Okay, so let me create a custom field. And now say for example, I want to create a checkbox and use it in the form. Okay, so these are some of the custom fields that you can, these are the type of the custom field that you can add and use. Okay, now single select list or checkboxes, date picker, date time picker, radio buttons, all of that, right? So say for example, let's go ahead, I want to add a radio button, okay, on the form as well. So I'll choose radio button, click on next, and I'll say, are you happy with course? Okay, just I'll give the name, copy and paste the same description there, and I will say the options there, so yes and no. Okay, so two radio buttons basically, so a customer can choose yes or no when they take the course, and then I'll create this radio button. So this is the name of the field, right? Now this is the field name. Okay, now ideally the field name, I've just kept it, are you happy with the course? Okay, but you make sure you do not give this descriptive name there. Make sure you give, you know, a short name that you can easily remember and see what exactly the field is all about. Now on this issues, as you create that particular field, right, the custom field, you will see where you want to associate this, which screen or which screens this field you want to associate it, right? So first thing is you create the field, then these fields are displayed on the screens. So you have to associate the field that you create on the screens. So where do you want to associate it? Because we are working on the Jira Work Management, so I am going to associate these to the procurement project, right? So let's see which screens are there for the procurement. You will see this is procurement project screen, create issue, edit, view, and then so there is a create issue and then edit and view screen, right? So I'll simply say just check these check boxes to associate the field that I have added here with these issue screen for the procurement project, because this is where I want to associate or add this field in these screens. Okay, once I have done this, click on update. Just check the box and then update. All right, now you will see, are you happy with this, with the course, this field that has been added? And it is a radio button, right? It's a type of radio button. And then you will see it is associated with the two screens. If you click on the screens, you will see this is the screen that we selected, right? The checkbox. And if you see the context, so the custom field has the following context. So what is the context? So context is create, edit, or delete context, right? So it's available on create, edit, and delete, all three options. Okay, so let me go back. Right, so now this field is there. Okay, now let's go back to the procurement project and let's go back to the form, and you will see the field will appear on the form. All right, now if I have to use this field on the form, I will simply drag and drop this field wherever I want on the form. Okay, and if I click on preview, you will see, are you happy with the course? You will see this radio button appears that a customer can select on the form. Okay, so it's that easy to add a custom field into your Jira instance. This is Jira Cloud instance, so whatever I have shown is for the Jira Cloud instance. How you can go ahead and navigate to the proper section to add the custom field, then wherever you want to associate, whichever project you want to associate that custom field in the Jira Work Management project, you add that to those screens, and then it will be available here in the form section. When you will go, it will be available, so you can directly drag and drop. Okay, so this is another one which I have created, custom field, and has been added here. Okay, so that's basically all about the addition of the custom field, and then basically adding those customized fields into the new form. All right, so I hope this video will clarify this particular question to one of the subscriber that has asked it.